if it wasn't for lack of complete acceptance in my life, I would have transitioned by now. Like, it's so much more accepting for a cis woman to, like, get their face done, or chest, or butt. It's so much more accepting for them to do gender-affirming surgeries, but if a trans person does it, it's weird, because it's not our gender assigned at birth. Hi, hello. So, this Mercury Retrograde has just brought out all of everything. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? So, there's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a bit, and it's basically that I don't hate being trans. I think that it's one of the greatest things that I've had the pleasure of experiencing, because it, like, opens you up to just being able to view social things in a different way and be a part of a community that's, like, incredibly accepting, usually. And it just really has made me look deeper into myself and how I think of who I am and how I want to go about in society and how I want to present myself, how I want to look. Like, it's made me a lot more emotionally intelligent and just more aware of who I am, and I'm very grateful for that. The only thing that I do not enjoy about being trans is other people. I really, really, really dislike having to cater to other people on my identity. Like, starting from the very beginning, or I guess you can consider it a beginning, coming out. That is for other people in my case, or in my opinion, because I had figured out my gender, like, a couple of years after going through puberty, like middle teenage age, like 15. That was when I, like, found the word for it, around that age. And so coming out to other people is just saying, this is who I am, this is how I want you to address me. Like, it wasn't for me, it was literally just explaining myself to other people so that they can see me how I see me. And I honestly love, like, watching videos of people who come out and then they, like, make a whole big deal out of it, like, make a whole party and just, like, create it as a celebration for who they are. I love that, because that's how it should be. But most of the time, it's just try to get other people to understand, and sometimes that doesn't work. And it's so frustrating to have to think that you have to explain yourself to other people so that they're on the same level as you. Like, even after coming out to some people in my life, I still feel like they don't understand. And even though they claim to be supportive, there's still this disconnect here where they don't use the right pronouns, or they don't support me transitioning physically. And in my head, I think that if I explain it the right way and maybe try to get them to be in my shoes, then it will be easier for them to understand me. And that's really frustrating, having to think that I need other people to understand me. Because really, when it all comes down to it, you're the person that you spend the most of your time with. So really, only you need to understand you. But just, like, interacting with these people that have been in your life and are going to be in your life forever, I guess, depending on what happens. Like, you want them to understand. And when that doesn't happen, there's this disconnect where it feels like they're always going to see you a certain way, and they just think this is a phase and that you're going to grow out of it, and that you're making a huge mistake and this will completely alter your future. This will mess everything up for you, everything that they planned for you. And they can't step out of that mindset in order to recognize that you're unhappy and that this would make you happy. And even if it's something different, it's not something weird. So then I'm the kind of person that's like, okay, well, how about you watch this video or look at this scientific research that affirms a point that I'm trying to get across. And even with all of that stuff, you can't make someone understand you. Like, sometimes you have to get people to understand you to a certain extent. Like, you have to fight for your rights to have access to healthcare. You have to, like, fight to make people understand the difference between a drag queen and a trans person. And that both of you are human beings that deserve basic respect. It's difficult to hear somebody say that it's hard for them to watch you transition, or hard for them to address you a certain way because they're so used to something else and they had other plans for you, for your future as a family member. And my thing is, if it's hard for you, imagine how it is for us. If it's hard for you to think about us changing in that way, imagine how hard it is for us to look in the mirror growing up and watch ourselves change into a way that wasn't comfortable, to be addressed in a way that just felt alienating, to just like feel like an alien constantly. Because even though there's a lot of awareness of trans people, there's also a great lack of community in a lot of places. Like, it's hard to find your people. So usually I'm the only trans person in a space. They just make you feel like you're an outcast, make you feel like you're weird, like you're a freak for thinking that changing your hormones will make you happy, or getting surgery will make you happy, even though that's something that they do with, like, menopause and just like regular hormone imbalances, and just trying to alter their body to make them more comfortable. Like, it's so much more accepting for a cis woman to, like, get their face done, or chest, or butt. It's so much more accepting for them to do gender affirming surgeries. But if a trans person does it, it's weird because it's not our gender assigned at birth. I've constantly felt like I'm weird because other people don't understand. Like, I have to think about the concept of passing and whether or not I actually want to try doing that, because you're gonna hear a dog for a while. But I think about, like, if I even want to pass, because really that's just playing into the whole thing about just, like, adhering to cis-normative standards. Like, is it because I want to look like this, or is it because I think that I'll be more respected in my gender if I look like this? And it's also a safety issue, because if I did pass and someone, like, saw one little thing that's out of place, then that could put me in danger because someone else doesn't understand. Like, being trans is literally, other than figuring out your own identity and having that journey with yourself, it's time and time again catering to other people, and that is exhausting. Like, the only times that I've, like, questioned something or felt bad in relation to being trans, it's because of what other people think or what other people have said to me, what other things that I've seen happen. It's never been just because that's who I am. It's always been because of someone else. If it wasn't for lack of complete acceptance in my life, I would have transitioned by now. And that's really sad. It's really sad that I have to think about other people's feelings before my own because I'm afraid that they won't be in my life anymore if I do something for myself. Are you done? No. If this barking is annoying you, imagine what it's like for me. And this also makes me think about how I think that there are more trans people in the world than people that are out because of a lack of acceptance. Because I said because twice, anyway, if you have a more flexible, oh my god, I am so angry, bark, 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 bark. I can't even think because I forgot to use my microphone. I don't know how this sound is gonna be. I'm sorry about that. I'm not re-recording it though, because what went through here is already out there. It's already gone. Anyway, basically what I was trying to say was, with more accepting and more open-minded spaces, there tends to be more people coming out. Because that's why there are more trans people right now. It's not because people are like influencing young girls with the trans agenda. That's not what's happening. It's literally having more people have access to information, more awareness of words that explain different identities, and having more open spaces for people to identify as that and be accepted. And it's really frustrating because I've thought numerous times that I should just go back in the closet and pretend, because it would be so much easier. Like, I didn't choose to be like this. I didn't choose any of it. But it's the truth. It's my truth. And I get exhausted having to interact with the world like this. So next time, if you're ever feeling negative, and if it's not something dysphoria related, if it's not something internal, and even if it's dysphoria related, maybe you can think about, like, it's, I don't know, adhering to cis-normative ideals, but, you know, that's a whole other conversation. But think about if those feelings are because of an outside influence. It could open you up to new ideas, or it can just make things harder for you to just exist happily. Okay, thanks for listening to me ramble. I hope that this was good in some way, helping someone out there feel less alone. Yeah, thanks for watching, and be nice to people.